think we're good to go.
Just like that.
Let's get into it. Hello and welcome to episode 3 of Fry Up, the podcast. We're back, everyone. We've got me and Fred here in Southampton. We've got David George in Portsmouth and Chris Milligan in the lovely, looks very sunny Watford.
Yeah, it's reasonably sunny. Quite a nice day.
It's a really nice day
It's
today.
pretty nice here, to be fair.
We're getting there with the weather, I think. We're definitely getting there. Near the end of April now. We are the end of April. One thing I did want to mention, I texted Chris before the show and I said, Chris, can you put your dolphin shirt on?
Yeah. For some reason, I just obliged, but I never really answered back, why have we done it? I don't know.
It's awkward when two people turn up in the same outfit, isn't it?
Because I just wanted to give a mention to the draft this week because obviously we had a very good draft as a Dolphins fan. # welcome to her. Anyway, glad we got that out of the way.
We won't talk about that for long, but yeah, it was...
David, are you cringing at us? Or is it just me?
He set you up there, Chris. I feel bad for you.
Yeah, but here we are.
Here we are. And this week, we announced that we were joining up back with Voice FM to co-host and do all sorts with Homefest number 2, which is raising money for the NHS. Amazing artists from up and down the country, actually, and locally as well. So we'll be announcing the next 4 acts on the show today as well. So stay tuned for that. So where should we start? Who wants to kick things off with their topic? Should we go to... Let's do Fred. Come on, Fred.
Again.
Come on, Fred.
Do I have to go first again?
Yeah.
Oh, mate. Well,
don't sound too happy.
So I've done lockdown twice.
Twice.
Surely not the hat trick, I beg.
Just want to give you a quick update on the lockdown.
Yeah, go on.
Still feel like I'm in a pit of isolation and desolation. Yeah. Anyway.
Lovely.
Twitter, lads. We've all got Twitter.
Yeah. Yes, we do.
Tweet like a little birdie. Anyway. Penne has been trending on Twitter. Penne pasta, chewy starchy delight of penne. It's been trending this week. That's my story.
Chewy pasta.
Surely that's not it.
Well, yeah, it's been trending.
Have you made it to get trending, or
No, it's been trending because
why is it trending?
There's been a debate over pasta shapes. Well, Penne's receiving a lot of hate recently.
Penne?
Poor Penne. I mean,
receiving hate?
number of reasons. People think it's a watery pasta. It makes the sauce watery because it holds water in the ridges and tube.
Is this sat in a kitchen or something?
Sometimes you say things, and I just wish you hadn't.
Don't we all, Fred? Don't we all?
Anyway, penne pasta makes the sauce watery. It burns you. It's not a very interesting pasta. Fusilli also getting quite a lot of heat, but yeah, penne, hated.
What's your opinion then, Fred? I've got to ask you.
Well, David. Now we get into the interesting part.
Here we go.
Of my little. I mean,
Let's settle in.
Penne. If we think of it in a different context, footballer, Penne is very much a Michael Carrick. It's a holding pasta.
Does he start every game?
No, Penne sits in the middle of the park and sprays balls, directs play. Penne is the fly half of pastas. Penne is what I like to call it unspectacular. Is penne? It's a red or a blue. It's not a purple or a indigo. I mean, yeah, standard, strong, powerful. It's a pasta that holds a lot of weight in the pasta community. Actually, I feel like penne. If it stood for election, it would get quite a lot of the sort of the swing vote. It's not going to hold down a Fusilli state, but it's definitely going to get a lot of the swing states are going to vote for it. Penne is reliable, it's powerful, it's strong, it's Italian, it's pasta. It is what this great nation was built on.
This great
It's
nation.
not. It just isn't.
So
UK.
basically, if you basically describe Penne as the Liberal Democrat,
Penne.
because I think we found the title for our show this week.
Penne is a George Bush.
Okay,
God.
Let's
fine.
not go there. Let's not go
Yeah,
there.
let's not
No,
go
no,
in
no.
too deep
No,
on
no.
that.
Penne
Crime's
feels-
cancelled.
It's,
Crime's
it's,
cancelled.
Penne it's a crowd pleaser. It's a fish and chips. It's a shining beacon of English heritage.
Penne by Fred
So-
Blackton, the poem out now. Bloody
So
hell.
the Italian-made pasta
Yeah.
is a staple of British.
No, not just that. It's what Britain was built on, Chris.
I'm sorry.
It's arguably why we won the war.
We built this city on penne
We
pasta.
won the war with Penne.
Yeah, Penne is arguably why we won both wars.
If we want it on potatoes.
I think
Potatoes-
there's stories would like to have a
potatoes
debate
too
with you on
Irish.
that.
Oh my days.
Penne, food, like, right.
What's the slogan for the Second World War, Fred? Dig for victory.
Wasn't it?
Penne
Wasn't
doesn't
it?
sprout up the ground.
Roll it, David, roll it.
Parboil for the win. I mean, Penne, it's so
Can you
universal.
stop saying penne?
I just don't understand the hate it's been getting. I mean, it goes with so many sauces. Pesto, pomodoro. You can do it with the bolognese if you're an animal. Who has bolognese with anything other than spaghetti or tagliatelle?
I know some people.
They disgust me.
You
Frankly,
know them.
if you don't have long pasta with a bolognese sauce, you are frankly, I mean, just out disrespecting the graves of all the Italians. The Italians knew what they were doing when they put long pasta with
Can I
bolognese
just
sauce.
interrupt? Where is this going?
Yeah, well, this has been going for about 5
What's the
minutes
end
now.
result?
I'm sorry, but this is just something that's really enraged me.
So, okay, just bringing it back to some sort of sense of normality, which what would you prefer to penne pasta then, Fred, and why? What would you put as
No,
your
this
top,
is the
top
point.
pasta?
Oh, this is the point I've been making.
There is no other
Penne
option.
has been getting hate, and I don't understand why. I like penne. It's in my top 5.
But what is the other 4?
This is my top 5 tip for this
Oh.
week. It's 5 pastas that you could try as an alternative to penne.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. Number
Yep,
1,
right.
macaroni.
Oh.
Little curls, little penne, baby penne light. So
Penne
yeah, that would go particularly well with
Penne
cheese.
light. What is it?
Diet
No, it's
Penne.
it's macaroni. Listen. So macaroni, best sauce to pair it with? Cheese.
Like the dish mac and cheese.
Right.
Macaroni and cheese.
Cheers, Fred.
The second one, fusilli. 12s, and 12. Fusilli.
You should have some in your hands, really.
I've got them in the cupboard, I'm not going to do that. Anyway, fusilli.
Okay, fine.
My favourite sauce to have with that would be probably
Pesto?
no.
Oh, okay.
A puttanesca. I feel like the
A food to what?
puttanesca.
Why are we running through this?
I
That's
feel
not very
like
appetising to me.
the tomatoes and the capers will
Starch is strong.
bring out the starchy goodness in the fusilli. Third on the list, gnocchi.
The gnocchi.
Yeah, that's a very bad impression of Uncle Bryn. And gnocchi goes particularly well with purple potatoes.
Purple potatoes.
Did you just be quiet for 2 minutes while I finish off my topic, and then we can do your bit? Anyway, purple potatoes and a nice pesto genovese. Fourth on the list, seashell pasta. I don't
No.
know the Italian name for it. What do you mean
Conchigli.
no?
Conchigli.
Yeah. What do you mean
Yeah,
no?
You're
do you
complaining
mean?
about water retention.
No, other people complain about water. I like penne.
Okay.
This is getting. You're making this a fast. This topic anyway. Seashell
You're
pasta.
actually just talking to yourself.
Stop talking.
Just keep going. Please keep going.
Yeah, we're nearly there.
And
Seashell
the final
pasta,
pasta I
yeah.
have on the list is farfalle.
What's that?
Yeah? Falafel. Oh, that's what he said, didn't he?
No, farfalle.
Farfalle.
It sounds like you're swearing at me in like Moroccan
Can
or
you
something.
stop like interrupting my topic?
Sorry.
Actually, very annoying.
Okay.
Farfalle. Stop lying. Not funny. This is a really serious topic.
Yeah, I can tell.
Don't do serious usually, but this is it. Serious.
It's as serious as it gets.
Farfalle, the bow tie, pasta goes well with the pomodoro, actually. Very well. Basil, tomatoes. Yes, please. Anyway, Penny's getting a lot of hate. Don't understand why. Hashtag Penny for the win. Thank you very much.
Hashtag Penny.
Penny for the win.
I'll be tweeting about this later today, actually, because I'm outraged, frankly. If Penny is trending, it should be trending for the fact that it's one of the elite pastas. I mean, you don't go into a game without a player running the show like Penny. You want Penny inside Owen Farrell. Penny, I feel like Penny would do a better job than George Ford at fly half, frankly. You could find no better pivot than Penny. Penny knows what he's doing.
Well, you've lost my friend.
Penny
Pivot.
Penny is what it's what this nation was built on, what we won the war for, and also arguably
we won the war for Penny.
Arguably why our currency is so strong.
I don't.
It's because of Penny.
Can we please take a 5-minute breather? I'm hurting all over.
Do you, while we're just resting, do you want to announce the first act for Homefest?
Yes,
Homefest 2 is happening next weekend. I've got the honour of announcing the first act on the show. It's someone.
Well, the fifth act actually, because we've already announced.
The first act on this show.
Carry on, please.
Anyway, this act was the first Homefest. I actually thoroughly enjoyed. Can you start trying to do a serious announcement?
Just do it.
I thoroughly enjoyed their performance in the first Homefest. It's their returning band. It's Flow State.
Thank you, Fred. Thank you, Fred. Thank you for doing that.
Flow State for Homefest, Penny for the win.
I thought you were going to announce Penne to be performing.
I'll be eating Penne while I watch Flow State.
That's high praise. That's high praise.
That's
high
good.
praise indeed. Flow State, the Penne of bands. Believe me, if Flow State are watching, that is actually, I could give you no higher praise.
Anyway.
They've never had such a good introduction.
Do we want to go to Chris next?
Yes, that's...
Please.
How can I top Penne?
I mean, who knows?
I mean,
how can anyone top Penne?
How can anyone?
Very hard to top anything I say, because I say so many things that are so right and just in such a short space of time. Also, try to match the level of professionalism and just general dynamism in my pitch. Also, Chris, take it away.
Right, you are. There's a brilliant article that a friend directed to me this week. Obviously, as Fred sort of explained, we're in lockdown and no one can go anywhere, go visit anywhere. But it hasn't stopped museums getting in on the act, on their social media accounts, on their Twitter account. Museums in this country have been competing against one another for the freakiest, most scariest items that they have in their collection. And my Lord, it's brought up some amazing items. And I'm hoping we can get a picture of some of these tweets up by the time we have the podcast go up.
Cool.
I'll give you some examples. Yorkshire Museum, Christ knows why they have this. From the 3rd and 4th century, a hair of a Roman woman who was buried, and it's still got, the hair looks pretty good, and they've still got all the pins in place to keep her hair up.
No, the hair looks really
Who
good.
has that?
Sort of hairstyle that would go well on you, Chris, I reckon, if the hair's good.
Mate, I could do with it. Do you think that's a great idea? Contact Yorkshire Museum.
Write it down.
I mean, it looked great on my hair. The Natural Science Museum basically said, our creepiest object has to be this mermaid. And honestly, you know The Little Mermaid? You've seen The Little Mermaid?
Yeah.
This isn't The Little Mermaid. This is like hair like mine, balding. And like a fish tail.
Yeah, you've got a proper fish tail going on.
And then another museum's come in with like a creepy object of a mask that was used during the plague in the 1600s.
Is that with the long, like...
Yeah, you've got it. Spot on.
The Pinocchio.
Like a Pinocchio sort of nose.
Like some sort of misshapen bird with legs. It's disgusting. It's like a flamingo on a heat.
But it's like, I want to know, like, what family goes, do you know what? I really fancy going and seeing a mask that was used during the plague this weekend at the museum. Let's go and see it.
It's historical, Chris. It's in-depth cultural delve into the history of this great nation.
in this great nation.
Is
Well,
there anything that you've been to, like a museum, and you've seen that's like weirded you out or anything like that?
I remember there was a thing. I can't remember which museum. It might have been the Natural History Museum in London.
Museum.
When I was younger, they did like this sort of exhibition where you could go and you pretended like you were in the trench, and it was like you were being shelled. And I remember freaking out. Oh my God. I was properly petrified. But I used to, I tell you one thing, a creepy object that did freak me out. There used to be like a sort of, like a ball pit place, you know, like it's one of those kid fun houses you could go to and run about and run into walls and not worry about getting hurt. Well, there used to be like this talking tree at this place near me in Watford. And I could not, it was basically,
Lord of the Rings, like
it's like this sort of animated tree. And every time you walk past, it would talk to you. I could never walk past that thing. I'd have to find ways we could walk around this tree.
Amazing. I'll tell you the most frightening thing I've seen. Well, it was in an art gallery, not a museum. It was at Tate Modern, and it was genuinely a block of wood. Very well sanded.
That's in his bathroom. You didn't have to go to the Tate Modern.
Yeah, that was even more frightening. No, it's just a block of wood, genuinely, probably about this big. Quite well sanded, but on the front, one half was painted like a light blue. £20,000 it sold for.
What?
For that, it was on an art trip. I turned to my art teacher and went, "I'm just going to do that for my final project."
I mean, you might as well.
She just looked at me and went, "You won't." I was like, "If that's art, I can get away with anything."
Sold for £20,000.
It's like a guy crushed a can and sold that for God knows how many pounds. And
Yeah,
that was like the start of when modern art went from being abstract to just frankly.
You can get away with anything.
In my opinion.
Well, my favourite is Banksy. Did you see that? The photo of the girl holding the balloon.
Yeah.
And it's sold at an art gallery for £1 million. And as soon as it was sold, it shredded itself.
Yeah, then it got shredded and it sold for even more. And then after they shredded it, sold for even more. One guy got his own Banksy and cut it up.
Yeah,
and it sold for £1. He bought it for thousands and thousands of pounds. Got a Stanley knife, cut up his painting for himself and more. Went for £1 on eBay.
Amazing. Going back to the museum artifacts, though, there was one that I found earlier this week from the Mary Rose Museum down here in Portsmouth.
Oh, yeah.
Mary Rose was the ship which sank and was then recovered. I believe it was in the 1980s.
Yeah.
And it's a Tudor artifact. And essentially, it's a needle. So the Tudors actually used to treat diseases by injecting mercury into the affected area.
Great idea, guys.
So it's poisonous mercury, yeah?
Yeah, you know, the highly toxic
stuff that will kill you.
Yeah, so the Mary Rose Museum put it up on Facebook earlier this week. Basically saying Tudors used to treat venereal diseases by injecting mercury into the affected area. Mercury is, of course, highly toxic, and these days nobody with any sense would suggest treating a virus with a deadly poison.
Nudge, nudge.
Unless, of course, you are.
Which leads us on to our next topic.
Look at that. Typical journo.
Great segue. But before we do that, should I announce the next artist?
Yes,
great.
let's do
Let's
that.
move on.
So, of course, yes, Homefest. Big shout out to Matt for organising this as well. This is great work to get these great acts together. I have the honour of announcing Eddie George is going to be performing at Homefest. Yeah, big round of applause for Eddie. Eddie George, Hampshire-based artist, guitarist, singer-songwriter. Look forward to seeing his performance. It's going to be very exciting. But
amazing.
We have more fantastic acts to announce on the show.
No relation to David, we should say.
No relation to David.
No relation to David.
Or is he?
No.
Eddie had to get his
much more talented
from somewhere.
Hi, Eddie George here, and I'll be playing live at Homefest on May the 2nd.
Come on in, David.
Go on in, David.
Let's talk about the president.
Let's talk about the president. Donald Trump has caught, I would say, an unusual amount of flack, but I suppose he's kind of used to it at this point.
He does it to himself.
During one of his health briefings during the coronavirus pandemic, which has spread more through America than anywhere else. America is now the epicenter for this virus. Here is a direct quote he read on Thursday.
Again, typical journo there. Direct
Here we go.
Quoting.
I just want to I'm just covering my bases.
No, I understand it. I understand.
I see the disinfectant where it knocks out in a minute. 1 minute. And is there a way we can do something by an injection instead, or almost a cleaning? Because you see, it gets in the lungs, so it'd be interesting to check that.
This is when he goes, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a doctor.
Yeah, I don't know if you then looked, or the camera then panned to the doctor that was in the room, and she looked like someone had just walked over her grave.
Yeah.
Well, the thing
She's
is,
just there going, no, please stop.
but she had the look of. She had the look of, I have been a medical professional most of my adult life. I now have to get up after this and tell the people of America, please, for the love of good God, don't put disinfectant into your body.
She had the look of someone who couldn't find any penne in the supermarket. That's what she did. Looking somewhere to settle for some inferior pasta is what. Anyway, I'm sorry.
Some genius put the music from Curb Your Enthusiasm. You know, the Larry David.
Yeah.
The thing is, we're obviously getting close to like getting a vaccine, but then the US are like, yeah, just buy a bottle of Mr. Muscle and it will all be fine.
Yeah.
Everything will blow up. Everything will blow over.
I feel like you shouldn't give advice unless you're willing to
back it up.
Get advice to medical professionals and not suggest people drink something that is known to be harmful to them.
Yeah, I mean, if he suggested, then just grabbed the bottle and just chugged it, like, that's hardcore. But
Don't you pop in toilet ducks like Pez, do you? I mean, it's just not right.
Bring back Tide Pods.
Yeah, I mean, who would have known? But Barry Scott had the answers for all these years. You know,
Barry Scott.
Bang.
Within
and
hours.
the virus is gone.
Within hours here in the UK, Silly Bang was trending on Twitter.
Yes, it was.
Look at that.
Straight away.
That is what I love about this country.
I mean, I know politicians have made some gaffes in the past. I mean, right across the world. I can't remember anything, certainly in living memory, where someone has said something quite like this.
Except for Donald
Where
Trump,
just collectively everyone has just gone, no. Why?
Donald Trump does say stuff that's kind of controversial on a regular basis, doesn't he?
So I mean, I was looking at something, and by all accounts, he when he goes and does his briefing, you know, he's given the stuff that he needs to say on like a script, and he'll read through that, and he's not read it through before. He's go out and read it, but the part that apparently that he loves, which you can tell from that answer, is the question and answer, because it's the chance for him to riff off and, you know, do his thing. Where
he doesn't have to stick to the cue.
He doesn't have to stick to the cue cards, exactly. But on like a serious note, and I can't believe it, we have to say this: don't, for the love of God, like inject or
bleach, disinfectant, stiff, anything like that. Just don't put it.
And the serious point of it is that I was reading that apparently there had been cases of people that had done this.
Yeah, I read about a doctor who'd been treating someone who'd drank diluted 3 parts to 1 water to bleach, which obviously, I mean, is not just. I mean, yeah. On a very brief, serious note, don't drink bleach. I mean,
don't drink bleach.
It says it on the bottle, not fit for human consumption. That should tell you. It's fine to stick down.
David, do we want to announce act number 3?
We do indeed, yes. So the next act we want to announce for Homefest here on the Fry Up podcast. She's a singer-songwriter, Hampshire-based, Winchester to be specific. Has been playing music pretty much her entire life, but hugely talented singer-songwriter Amelia Tarrant. So there we go.
Yes.
Hey, I'm Amelia Tarrant, and I'll be playing Voice FM's Homefest on Saturday, 2nd of May.
And there's one act left to announce as well.
That'll be the end of the show.
Do you know how much you spent?
Come on.
£2,500.
Fuck off. Seriously? $2,500?
Right, so the final topic for today. Chris mentioned it a couple of weeks ago on the show, and I thought let's just do it. Let's just watch it. And I have binge watched Too Hot to Handle last Sunday.
What a great weekend!
It was fantastic. Think of Love Island, but like
I try not to.
Yeah, I really don't.
But like a lot, I was gutted. It's only 8 episodes, so it doesn't take that much out of your time. Well, it does actually, a whole day. But it should have lasted longer for me personally. It was great. It involves, there was Americans on there, there was Brits on there was an Aussie on there. It was just unreal.
It was actually, I know where 3 of the 4 of us are from Hampshire. Chris, you lived in Hampshire with us for a while. There was actually a woman from Portsmouth on the show.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Lydia.
Called
Yeah.
Lydia. Yeah, she's a show presenter and ring girl, apparently.
Yeah.
According to an article in the Portsmouth News, which has been rated as one of the greatest daily newspapers in the country. Yeah, I can't say I've watched this show. I mean, how does it work, Matt, in terms of hooking people up? No likey, no lighty, or
it's
more
no
complex?
Oh, come on, Dave. We've moved on from Take Me Out. Come on. So what happens? All the the way it's filmed and the way it's put together is very much like Love Island. They all come in, have a glass of champers. There's no limit on the drink, I don't think. The only thing is, they all get there. I think there's say 10 of them. There's phone's gone. They all come in, and they all get chatting. They all start being like, "Oh, I like her. I like her. I like whatever." And then, basically, these guys just cannot handle not having any sort of sexual contact with anyone. These are guys and girls who go out on the reg, pick someone up, take them home, and never see them again. That's the idea. Is like a quote from Chloe, who was in the show. She's from Essex, and Chris said before we started recording, it was literally rehab for sex. It was literally because they weren't told until they'd already been there for a couple of hours, and they weren't told until the evening that there was a sex ban. They weren't allowed to have sex. They weren't allowed to kiss. They weren't allowed to have any sort of sexual contact at all.
Oh, is that the twist of the show?
Yeah. The first few hours, there was no sex ban.
Yeah, but they didn't know that. But obviously, it'd be pretty incredible to pick someone up within an hour, do what you need to do.
One of them kissed someone.
There was a few people who did kiss, but the prize fund is 100 grand. And the money goes down every time something happens. And they all have to sit around the table and get told.
Yeah, by some chastity influencing robot.
By Lana.
It's like Alexa, basically.
By Lana.
Lana.
And then if they don't, so basically what happened was, Francesca and Harry, right? Harry's an Aussie, Francesca's from
Canada.
British Columbia in Canada. And they kissed, and basically he said that she came onto him. She was saying he came onto her, because obviously they wanted to blame who's losing the money. Chris is loving this.
I will chime in a minute. Just carry on.
Everyone got annoyed with Francesca. So then what Francesca did was make out with Hayley, who is a girl. And Hayley literally hates everyone. She was like just horrible. Like she was a bitch, quite frankly. And she openly admitted that. She openly admitted it. Said, "I'm a bitch. I know I am. I don't like anyone. I can't be bothered."
Can I just stop you, really? If Hayley is watching, this is the views of Matt Clues and not anyone else in the Fire Podcast. Carry on.
Lana did kick her out of the show after a while.
Just covering my back.
Spoilers, Fred.
Hayley's
I was looking forward to watching
that. Sorry.
Hayley's from Florida, Chris, so it's a shame, really. But what? Okay. Anyway, at the end, I won't tell you what happened at the end, because people might be watching this and might want to watch the end of it.
Highly recommend it.
So watch it. And obviously, there's prize money at the end. All sorts happens. It's just great. Anyway, I wanted to read you some of my favourite quotes from the show.
Oh, God.
My favourite one came from Francesca when she went on a date with Corey, who was a guy that came in. He's from Plymouth.
Yeah.
Very far away from Canada. And
Australia.
Basically, she had already committed to Harry. They'd already done the deeds. As you can imagine, money went down after that. And she was very hot, apparently. She felt very hot. She was very attracted to him, but knew she wouldn't go there because she was committed to Harry. And she said, "What's the number for 911?
Oh, you're joking. Come on. I don't watch a show like that. I'm sorry.
I just can't handle it.
The literal bin juice of society.
Look, do you think? I don't tend to like this sort of thing, but I sat there, and by show probably 2, I was quite tired, so I didn't want to get up anyway. But yeah, I just watched it, and it was one of the most eye-opening experiences of my entire life.
One thing I will say is that these shows do this, where wasn't it on Love Island either like last year or something? They had like a medical professional,
Yeah,
Yeah.
doctor. wasn't
and
Alex.
once the show came out, like they just made him look like an absolute brainlet.
Yeah. Yeah. He's working in the NHS now. He's gone back to work.
Good
He's
man.
doing all. Yeah.
Needed.
Anyway, do carry on with your enlightening quotes.
I wanted to write. This is from Hayley. So she. All right, I won't say what happened to her. But anyway, she said, "I like the international vibe. Harry's from Australia, and I have literally no idea where that is."
Oh,
These people weren't like Harvard graduates. I mean,
that's putting it mildly. I don't think they graduated anything.
one of them was at uni doing something, done doing a course.
Yeah.
I have so many things wrong with this program. Like, again, one, when did we live in a society where sex was the be all and end all of a relationship?
Yeah.
And
It's
you
not the be-all
have
and
to, and honestly, there are people that cannot resist the temptation so much that, you know, they're going to lose money for it.
I think Chris,
Just find that outrageous.
These people are borderline sex addicts. That's what it was.
You are literally, you could be paid
£1,000
to sit in a fancy villa and do bugger all.
Do nothing.
Still can't do it.
Absolutely nothing.
The villa was outstanding as well. Like it was bigger than the Love Island villa. They had their own private beach, had their own pool.
It was pretty
it was
unreal.
pretty amazing. Like if you were going there for a holiday, it'd be awesome.
The thing
How
is,
do you still mess this up? Just put on weight. Just comforty if it's a problem. Like
And
honestly,
there's as much booze as you want. Just get drunk.
Exactly.
Great. It's like being in lockdown. I'm having a great time.
the thing is, these
I don't
are
think I
guys.
can. I think I would genuinely get angry if I watched this program.
Oh, you
so
would.
Yeah, so would
You
I.
definitely would.
These are
would be
people
angry.
who struggle to have a relationship. This is like that's the issue, I think.
because their priorities are wrong, like Chris said.
Oh, completely. Yeah.
Chris is right.
Yeah.
and they are clearly moronic.
Yeah.
Oh,
as
yes.
well.
No, yeah.
Evidently.
These people are not nice people. They're bad people.
They basically get rewarded for
having sex.
being good, basically, pretty
Just
much,
being-
and
they get
changing as a
rewarded for-
person.
Just be like everybody else.
But
yeah, they're all
with
very
Love
arrogant people.
with Love Island and these programs, though, we have this sort of, you know, the problem it's all fun and games and we can laugh at it and stuff, but then we go back to the whole thing that you've got, you know, like sort of young girls, young boys are watching this, and then they see, oh, I need to get toned, I need to, you know, do this, I need to do that, I need to be really good looking. And it's just like, no, you don't. You really don't. All you need is a really, really good personality, someone who's really nice and lovely, and that is enough. Who gives a damn? You know what I mean?
Fred, that's how you do top tips.
You know, if you want to tone yourself up, fine, but just don't become an arsehole. I just can't deal with these programs. It just wind me up.
And the thing is,
also, I think, without going into too much detail, they've got a lot more answers.
they've got so many
more questions to answer for.
So much.
But let's not go into that now, because we'll be here forever. But
But it was great for a Sunday.
One thing I will say is you
go
could
on.
put an interesting spin on this sort of show where they take people who are addicted to something. Is this meant to be some sort of therapy? This
Yeah,
villa?
it is.
was
They
like
do a lot of
like
like therapy
sessions,
with
like-
them and
Right,
do classes and
let's
whatever.
spin this round. Right, my top tips. If I'm Netflix right now, I'm taking this. I'm running with it with different addictions.
Like drugs and stuff.
Yeah,
You could do
you're gonna
anything.
you're gonna have a
gaming,
villa.
pasta.
You're gonna have a
Alcohol.
villa in the middle of Ibiza, party central.
Oh,
You're gonna
God.
lose money every time you have a drink.
That'd be
But isn't-
torture, wouldn't it?
I
For some
that-
people, anyway.
I think I'll struggle with that
Is-
though.
Isn't that a bit of a cop out for like dealing people with addiction? Say, look, don't drink, don't smoke, or don't have sex or whatever,
Go cold turkey and we'll give
And-
you money.
and we'll give you money.
Yeah.
Isn't that?
It's
That's not,
incentivized.
is that really?
Better way.
Is that solving the?
It's incentivizing good behavior. That's what
But
it
is that? But is that solving the addiction though?
Yeah, 'cause that's how you deal with. That's how you teach kids. You incentivize
See,
them.
would a better way of doing it be tackling phobias? Maybe.
Like heights.
Oh Christ!
Get
I'm not going on an island full of snakes. I will.
Yeah.
Well, maybe one of those things where you write down like a list of fears, and at the end of the show, you've ticked off like a bunch on your list, and you get certain amount of prize money depending on how many you've tackled, or like a percentage.
Mate, it's difficult.
Let's say I've got
It's
10
hard
things
to
on my
find
list of fears. I've tackled 3, and I
out.
get
Get
like,
30 quid.
let's say 3 grand for it, or
£4.
30,000. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. It's all possible. Who knows? But I'd watch it. And I've now watched it. I'm like, yeah, I think I can leave it now.
But the big question, Matt Clues, is someone who's an avid viewer of Love Island as well. Is it better than Love Island?
Yes. Yes.
For a day, yes. Long term, no, because it should. Love Island lasts longer.
Yeah,
Love
but
Island's got it every night.
The thing with Too Hot Time though is it's a lot easier to take the mick out of these people.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Not that you should, because there's the hashtag Be Kind movement. And
No, obviously, no.
as a Friar, we'd like to advocate
It
that.
anything hurtful, but I mean, it's funny to watch people.
They know what they signed up for. Let's put it that way.
They didn't.
Hashtag-
No, that was the joy of it.
Crying.
They didn't know there was going to be a sex ban.
Actually, that's true. Yeah,
That's what makes it so funny.
Swindled.
Get wrecked, Nine.
Anyway,
We're pretty much at the end of the podcast, aren't we now? So, but
Yeah.
there's one more thing left to do. There's one more act to announce at Homefest, isn't there?
right. So, fans of the X Factor will probably recognise this name. I've spoken to them a few times now. There's 4 of them. The name 4 is in the name. The number 4 is in the name. I mean, the headlining Homefest number 2 is 4 of Diamonds.
Huge. Absolutely huge.
Huge. It's a huge act. Huge act. And there's
Massive
more
coup.
to be revealed this week up until Saturday, 2nd of May, which is the day to...
There's even more coming.
There's even more coming, David. Can you believe it? I've been a busy
mad.
boy.
You have.
This is going to be like the Godfather 2 of Homefests. The Empire Strikes Back of stay-at-home live music.
The Two
Exactly.
Towers.
This is It's going to be the best one. Make sure you tune in. Well, best one so far.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, it might not happen again. We'll see. I said that about the last one.
See what happens.
Yeah, and here you are. You've put together an absolute wonder cast.
You've done a good job, mate. Well done.
Thank you. Yeah.
You're loving it. Shut up. We'll keep an eye out on the socials for all the announcements. So
Yes.
Yeah.
And you'll be seeing our faces again as we'll be hosting some of the day too. So
yeah, we will.
looking forward to that. Thank you, boys, for spending a lovely hour with us.
Yeah, cheers, lad. We always enjoy the recording.
Always nice to see your faces.
Yeah.
Likewise.
It's a good way to spend a day. Likewise, Fred Blagden. Love you.
We'll be back next week.
Yeah, we'll be back next week. Follow us on
Cheers,
socials and
guys.
subscribe.
I'm going to go eat some penne.
Yeah, I'm off to Penne.
Stay safe, people.
Yeah.
Eat penne.
Penny for the win.